Today we're going to talk about Past Lives, which is one of the year's better films.
Shut up.
A film about a romance that kind of has its times, goes through different periods of these two people's lives and how they interconnect, where they are in certain stages of their life. Starts off early with them being kids, like 12 years old, then it goes to 24, then 36, and it's a movie.
There's a word in Korean, 인연. It means providence or fate.
Me and Christian are here to talk about it, and I happen to know it's one of his 10 out of 10 movies this year.
There's something so subtle and beautiful about this movie. I actually saw it a second time. I love it. It's one that broke my heart the first time I saw it and the second time I saw it. Both times I left that theater and I was just like, God, movies.
What a good story this is.
I also think that like 10 years from now, I'm going to find this deeply upsetting.
When I came out of this movie, the way it ends, if you've seen the movie, you know it kind of ends in an interesting way in hindsight. But in the immediate, I was like, oh, I really thought there was going to be another push. But then once you think about it, the entire ride home and then for the next several days, you're like, actually, damn, that was a lot at the end of the movie. And I think part of why I didn't necessarily go with it that much, ironically, is that I did relate to some of it a little bit. I've had at least one relationship like that where you kind of think, oh, well, if this happened or if this happened a different way, then maybe things would be different. Maybe we would be the ones, here in this moment right now, kind of a vibe throughout the movie, just little things like that. Everybody's thinking about consequences of this, hey, I'm into this job right here. And they're kind of separated for most of the movie, different things like that. And it's just very interesting. A lot of ideas in this movie. Maybe the fact that it hit a little close to home in the minuscule way that it does in my life compared to this movie and its crazy story, it made me like, I don't know if I necessarily wanted to see that on the screen. And then I was like, oh shit, yeah, this is actually really good and honest, and it's a great movie.
The thing that I love so much about this movie is that it's beautiful in its truth. I don't personally relate to the situation that Nora and Hae Sung are in. I don't even really relate to this movie in a romantic sense. I relate to this movie in the way that, like, there's people that I grew up with that I spent so much time with. And you know what? I barely talk to those people anymore. There's no ill will between us. It's just life happens. People carve out their own paths, and then people go their separate ways. And that's just, it's like a mutual understood thing. And I thought Celine Song's script, it's just like this meticulous thing in the way that it all unfolds so organically. This is such a subtle movie. There's no big Oscar clips. There's never that moment where you're like, Oscar. But also, it's one of those in which the greatness of it, I think, creeps up on you the more you dwell on it. Because you're just like, oh, well, that, yes. Like, the more you place yourself in the situations of these characters, Nora's behavior is kind of cold. But also, I got her.
She is kind of cold, but at the same time, you see it from her perspective because she has such a much different life than I have.
Exactly.
She's from Korea and she comes over to America to pursue her dreams, and that's how she gets separated from Hae Sung. So it's like a big what if. What if there was an opportunity for her that met whatever her needs were at the time in Korea while she's in America? She kind of eventually gets caught up in achieving stuff, which is not a bad thing at all. It's like a perfectly normal, logical way to live your life. While she's doing that, she's putting romantic interest kind of on the back burner. And then once she gets set up at a good place, she meets this other guy in America. Really interesting dynamic with all the different cultures that I am obviously not a part of. I find movies like that that are so honest about their culture and show it in a way where you can relate to it, even though you have no business necessarily relating to it because you've never been through anything like that. But it's just so well written to where it's easily relatable. And like Chris is saying, her script is so good.
Yeah, she's a playwright apparently, and this is her first movie, and whew, gosh, that's a good start.
Very much looking forward to what she makes next.
Whenever Nora first has like her cold moment, I thought back to early on when they're children. She says something in the classroom like, well, I'm not going to win a Nobel Prize living in Korea. And it's just like the little details in this movie that are just ingenious. She dreams big. That's why Hae Sung, every time he sees her, he's like, you know, the last time I saw you, you wanted to win the Nobel Prize. What is it now? And she's like, the Pulitzer, you know?
It's just really a fun, romantic kind of a movie way, but also saying a lot about people and the things we do every day.
It is. And I think, like, although most of this movie is Greta Lee's Nora, it's her story, incredible performance. I like it, just, again, subtle, but a beaut. But it's also Hae Sung's too. And I think he's also just as equally well established as a character. When you see him, he's not a sad sack, but you can just kind of tell that he lacks fulfillment. And this relationship that he's had with Nora over the past 24 years, there's just something that he needs resolved, or he just needs this book closed.
He's one of those characters that I really like in movies where he knows what he wants. However, he's too stubborn or smartly ignoring it in order to maintain his life and
Mm-hmm.
achieve things in his own world, all his opportunities. He just happened to not move to America, but he found opportunity there. Deep down, he really wants this.
He also carves his own path, but there's something still yet to be desired.
Want you to stay.
So this is like a 100-minute movie that spans the course of 24 years. And I just thought the way that she did that was remarkable. You get enough of what you need.
And the husband character is good too in his
Mm-hmm.
own way. He's also got his own things that he's thinking about, and it feels like maybe he's not enough for Nora because he does not come from the same culture that she does. So he feels like they can't really connect on the same level,
Mm-hmm.
especially when she's also got this guy that she's knew growing up, and it was like destined for them to be together, kind of a vibe back in Korea. He kind of feels like maybe he's doing her a disservice by being with her, but also knows that they've built a life of their own here and it's working.
He's wondering if she thinks that there's something yet to be resolved, and like if she lacks fulfillment, and she's just kind of, I don't know, like she's pondering it too. And it's just a movie that like lingers with you in a way that a lot of movies don't. And I just think it's really special. Tremendous acting, and I think it's beautifully filmed. I love the score. Home run.
Definitely check this out. I feel like you will be rewarded with a movie full of ideas and different things that you could potentially relate to. And it's just a very interesting movie when you think about it more and more. We definitely recommend checking this one out.
Yes.
와,
진짜 와닿아.
와.
If you've seen past lives, let us know what you think. If you enjoyed this discussion, like the video and subscribe. We like movies.